Hello and welcome to the AgCulture Podcast, where we share insights about the future of agriculture. Each week, we dive into the stories, technologies, and ideas shaping a profitable and sustainable future for farms and rural communities alike. I'm Paul Windemuller, host of the AgCulture Podcast, and today I'm recording from the World AgriTech Summit here in San Francisco, California. So I'll have a few different episodes that we'll be recording and showcasing on the podcast over the next few weeks. Now, this first episode, I'll be interviewing Tony Klemm and Tom Meade from a company called Enko. Now, with Enko, we're going to be looking at what a new R&D model looks like in practice in terms of chemistry in agriculture. I think it's a great real-world example of why large ag companies are increasingly turning to startups to deliver new modes of action faster and with greater confidence. So with that, I hope you enjoy this episode with Tom and Tony. Well, today I'm really excited to be broadcasting from the World AgriTech Summit here in San Francisco, California. And I have two gentlemen here with me today from Enko, a company based out of Connecticut. And I have the CEO and the Chief Science Officer, Tom Meade and Tony Klemm. We're here at the World AgriTech Summit, and you guys are obviously into technology, and you have a little different perspective than what most growers are used to seeing on a day-to-day basis. So tell us a little bit about Enko and what you guys are working on.
Enko is a small molecule, early stage discovery synthetic crop protection company. So we work on bringing new herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides to the market, working with collaborations through other tier one companies that growers will be familiar with, companies like Corteva, Bayer, Syngenta, FMC, UPL. We're working on the early stage aspects of trying to work in what a grower's problems are going to be 10 years from now and how we can develop products and put them through a pipeline to get them commercialized and in the grower's hand at the farm gate.
Yeah, so that's very different than most farmers are used to seeing. And how did you come about figuring out there's a problem there that needs to be solved, that what you guys are doing could really fit that need?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we talk to growers, we talk to people who interface with growers, and so we stay in close connection with the academic community to understand what are the emerging problems. Because as somebody just said, our solutions that we discover today will be solutions that are in the marketplace in 10 years. So we need to be looking that far ahead to see what problems we need to solve today.
Great. Now, what made you believe that you could actually figure out the solutions to those? Why Enko?
We started by taking a technology with a specific technology that had been and has been used in the past 10 years fairly extensively in drug discovery. And our original thesis was this technology fits the discovery of these small molecules that would solve problems for growers today. It allows us to rapidly explore very, very, very large chemical spaces to look for molecules that have really specific characteristics that will impart the solutions that growers need in the future.
Okay. Now, I know before we started recording here, you're telling me a little bit about where you guys are located and what that facility looks like. Could you give us a little background on that for the audience?
Yeah, so we're fortunate that we acquired a former Monsanto facility that's located in Mystic, Connecticut, which is about halfway between Boston and New York, right along the coast. Beautiful community where Monsanto formerly had worked with other pharmaceutical companies within the Northeast corridor and developing some of the technologies that growers are using today in their fields. We were able to acquire that facility, and so now we have 89,000 square foot of state-of-the-art research facilities, a greenhouse, and that's where we do all of our early stage work. And working with the roughly 50 other colleagues that we have based there in Mystic that are all focused on bringing these new products to growers.
Now, going back to the industry or the part of the sector that you guys are engaged in, originally a lot of what you did started out at the larger chemical companies, correct? they were doing a lot of that type of work themselves in-house. Is that correct? So you're kind of disrupting a little bit or changing maybe how the industry is structured with a lot of that pre-development work.
Yes, we do. This is an area that the big companies have historically done most of the work, most of the research. The problem is they really haven't significantly changed how they've done that work over the last 20 to 30 years. Very smart people, very focused teams, but we brought really a paradigm shift in how we discover those early molecules, which is a very time intensive, labor intensive, and dollar intensive process for a really uncertain outcome. So we have really turned that around and made it a very quick, very efficient, very cost effective process to really discover solutions that from the very beginning we know solve a problem that's important to the growers.
So you guys are looking really 10 years ahead, as you mentioned, right? So where do you see this going? I mean, the growers, especially listening to this, they want to know where are things going, especially in the chemical business. What does it look like? What are they going to be doing 10 years from now that you're working on today? Can you give us a little insight into that?
Sure. So I think that the important thing as a person that's been involved in ag, grew up on a farm my entire life as well. One of the benefits which gives Tom and I a little bit of comfort is Mother Nature always wins, right? So farmers are always dealing with issues, new issues in their field, whether it's a weed resistance issue, a disease or pest issue that is yield robbing. That's where the core focus is, right? And so we're always seeking out what those are going to be and trying to put in place solutions for that. But that's the unique aspect that we've focused on. So from a chemistry perspective, we have a lot of molecules that have been out in the market for a number of years, a lot of molecules that are being removed from the market across many different jurisdictions, especially in the EU, and molecules that do need to be replaced with more sustainable, lower use rate, better for the environment, safer for the environment products. And so that's really, again, part of the focus as we look at how we put together, our research goals. And when we look at the projects that we're working on, all of those things roll into the aspects of the products that we're developing. So as a grower, what they're going to be seeing in the future tied in with the technologies in which they're applying these chemicals through precision ag and various different attributes like see and spray and other things in which the vehicles that they're delivering the compounds to the plant, but also the products that they're able to deliver will be much safer for the environment of a lower use rate perspective. But most importantly, those products will be highly efficacious on managing the problems that those growers are facing to save their yields, to deliver sort of that return on investment that they need from a pocket dollar perspective.
And maybe go a little bit deeper on that in respect to, we're going to be hearing a lot about biologicals at this conference. So there's going to be a lot of talk around that. How do you guys view that, and how does that play into your work?
So Enko focuses solely on synthetic chemistries.
Yep.
We're not involved with any type of development in the biological space. I think, one thing that is proven and growers know that as well is that when they put a product out there, when they put that product in the tank, when they put that product in the planter box, there has to be a return on that investment. They need to be sure that that product is going to work, and otherwise that product is not going to get a reuse perspective. And so that's one thing about the aspect of synthetic products that are coming forward is those products are proven to work, right? They come with many years of field testing and efficacious in dealing with the pest or the disease that they're trying to control. And so I think, there certainly can be a space where biologics and traditional chemistries can fit together collectively, but they're really two different markets. And depending on the situation, the crop, and where you're working and where those are being applied, for instance, applying biologicals in Brazil is much different than applying biologicals in central Iowa.
Okay. Now, going back to the chemistry side of the industry, it's been around for a long time. And as you mentioned, there has been kind of a stall out of development to a certain perspective. And we're seeing a lot of the chemistries that have historically been used coming off the market. What would your critics say about your model that you're running today, and how do you respond to that?
One of the criticisms we've heard is that what we do is we're very clear. We are our focus, our strength, our differentiation is on the early part of the R&D process, discovering the molecules that will ultimately be developed into a product. And to be clear, there is time and money that is invested in taking those molecules and bringing them to the marketplace. The discovery side of the equation, the metrics there are much clearer. We know that from our own experiences and from those of our colleagues that many years and many tens to even hundreds of millions of dollars are spent to discover the molecules that are ultimately developed. So we do believe our molecules, because of the way they are designed, they're selected, they will move more rapidly, more smoothly through those development phases. But to be clear, and that's one of the criticisms we get, you're not shortening that back end. No, we're really not. We are dramatically shortening and increasing the probability of success on the front end.
And I would just add to that, from a critic's perspective, I'd say we don't have as many critics as we do collaborators, because that's what we're really about, right? We're
Right.
about collaborating with our customers, who are the major companies that many of your growers are going to recognize: Corteva, Bayer, BASF, FMC, UPL. And working with those companies in a collaborative effort, because for a number of years, investments in new chemistries have been slowed, stalled, or delayed due to the onset of biotechnology and the need for not having to need anything really kind of other than glyphosate on especially from a row crop perspective.
Right.
Now, as we see resistant to glyphosates, as we see other issues that growers are facing out there, the need has never been greater for new chemistries to come forward to manage these solutions and provide growers new tools in their toolbox. And so our collaborators see us as working with them and being able to bring these new products to their pipelines for them to further develop. So we have, I would say, a lot more collaborators than we do critics from that perspective. And at the end, it takes a number of years. These are highly regulated products
Yeah.
purposefully because of what they're doing, but they also provide a key element to what growers need to deliver the food that we bring to our table.
Now, we've already heard a lot about collaboration in the sessions that we've already had, and you just talked a lot about it right there. How do you develop that collaboration and really bring about a culture of collaboration from your perspective?
The collaboration aspects with our partners begins with having a product that is desired, right? And so understanding the needs that growers have, and that understanding is, both with us as well as with our collaborators. And so we're always working on trying to fill the gaps that exists out there, and then working with companies that have the ability to then take those from us and further develop them to commercialize them and bring them forward. And so I think we work in a collaborative effort, and most successfully with companies that see us as being a partner with them, a partner that is able to maximize the way in which they're utilizing their capital, and working with us and bringing technologies forward. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to deliver something to the ultimate customer, which is the grower at the farm gate.
You mentioned technology a little bit. We're hearing a lot about technology here. Where does technology help, and where does it actually risk overcomplicating what you're doing in the system that we have in agriculture?
In our case, there's really no risk in the complication. We really understand our technology very well. We apply it very effectively. Again, to discovering those solutions with the right characteristics that will produce a product the grower needs. As far as the grower is concerned, these products will look like, they will be used like the products that are used today. So there is no change in the ecosystem. If there is any change in the way things need to be done, it'll be a positive change, and really no different than when new chemistries hit the marketplace today.
And one last question for both of you. What does success for Enko look like in the next 5 years?
We believe we have a really unique innovation discovery engine. And we believe that we can provide the industry, the crop protection industry, with the new active ingredients that we all need to solve the problems that growers have. So the next 5 years, we would love to have more collaborations. We'd love to see more of our molecules in the pipelines of bigger companies.
Yeah, it's a great comment. And my colleague Tom mentioned before a few minutes ago about a paradigm shift. And so success for Enko is recognition that we are part of that paradigm shift, that we're driving that change. And at the end of the day, we're helping funnel in new products that growers are going to be able to use to really manage those core issues that they're facing at the farm gate. And so success is being recognized as a leader in what we do, and at the same time seeing our products get used and actually offer protection and yield improvement for a grower.
Great. Well, Tom, Tony, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today talking about an aspect of the industry that, from a grower perspective, I don't really get to hear much about. So it's very interesting what you guys are doing, how you're helping the overall agricultural system be successful in an area that isn't as sexy and upfront as other areas, but very, very important to what we're doing as growers and producers in agriculture. So thank you.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks once again for listening to another episode of the AgCulture Podcast here at the World AgriTech Summit. Tune in next week for our next episode in this series. And as always, if you found this episode interesting, please share it with somebody that you know. That is how we grow our audience. And if you would be so kind as to leave a rating and review on whatever platform you're listening to this on, please do so. And also, I encourage you to check out my LinkedIn. I'll have posts and videos from my time here at the World AgriTech Summit. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Paul Windemuller, LinkedIn, or I'll put some of that stuff on my website as well. So with that, I hope you have a great week, and we will see you next time for another exciting episode of the AgCulture Podcast. Thanks for listening.